Hey, you guys, I'm here. Wow, this has been like the craziest of all mornings in a lot of ways. It has been a crazy morning. You hear my phone blowing up? My phone is blowing up like crazy. I see you guys. He was offered a plea deal. Christina, I'm behind on the Duggar stuff. Does he have court today offering a plea deal? Hey, hey, everybody. It has just been a crazy morning. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the things that have been going on here. I had a elderly neighbor who uses our hot tub sometimes, who was going to use it this morning, break my gate by taking her car and ramming into it because the gate was closed. So now I've got a $500, $1,000 repair I got to pay because somebody else was an idiot and they're refusing to take responsibility. I have them on video doing it and I saw them with my own eyes. So it's just crazy. Okay. Yes, you get truthful Duggar opinions here. I felt like I had to talk about the Duggars a little bit because today's the day where his deal with the feds runs out. They have offered him a 10-year deal. He pleads guilty, allocates to it. He admits what he's wrong doing, and they give him 10 years, which likely would be even less with good behavior served and all of that. So that's a lot less than what the charges call for. The charges that he's been hit with, I mean, it could literally be 20 years per charge, literally, if they chose to go that way. So he might actually be eligible for the rest of his natural life behind bars. And so he's gambling, and I think he's going to lose. Like I've said so many times, Homeland Security has a 97% win rate when they bring a conviction like this, when they bring up charges like this against someone. But here's the thing. He's already rejected this deal. It expires today. It expires. So if he hasn't taken it by 5 p.m., okay, I got to think about this a minute. Arkansas is in Central Time, I believe. So by 5 p.m. Central Time, he's out of luck. If he's convicted, he'll serve quite a sentence, and it won't be 10 years. It'll be a lot longer. So he's really being silly by rejecting that in the first place. Kentucky girl, I think that they're going to have to probably put him in one of the super maxes on lockdown most of the time and not let him out, or at the very least, they're going to have to put him in protective custody. Because there'll be some badass in some jail somewhere that will want to make their bones by shafting a Duggar. So I'm not jumping for joy for him getting jail time or any of this because it's so awful. But I feel like I had to say something today. Sex offender prison. Prairie, that's very likely where they're all sex offenders. I took a look this morning at the Bureau of Prisons website about the federal prisons, and I took a look at the number of places that are federal prisons. It's a huge number. I had no idea there were so many federal prisons out there until I looked at the Bureau of Prisons page. They got a ton of them, including a pile of supermaxes, which is where I think he's probably going to end up somewhere. Ooh, if he ends up in Colorado, that won't be good. Oh, is that a state prison? Well, these are federal charges, so he will go to a federal prison. So one of the big things that I heard What's-Her-Face was saying, I'm not even calling her name, is she was saying what a shame this is going to be because Josh will be eligible for conjugal visits. Well, guess what? There are no conjugal visits anywhere in the federal prison system. Not even if you're in low security country club federal prison. There just aren't. There's just not. You're reduced to doing what Andrea of Love After Lockup had to do, bribe the guard so she could have sex with, I want to say Lamont. Was that her husband's name? In a prison closet, if you want to get your freak on. There was a friend for a while who sex offender prison. Now they're moving away from that again. Open housing. Ugh. Except in a sex offender prison, there's someone who will be super extra ready to deal with Josh. Cheryl, yes, that does save his wife from another pregnancy, at least until he gets out. And we know based on Debbie Pearl's book, in that particular lifestyle, what happens when the husband goes away for SA, he goes away for CP, anything like that. Debbie Pearl says that you sit by him. You don't impede the investigation. You sit by him. You try to be cheerful, be a good wife, let him see the kids, bring the kids to prison to see him, and welcome me back with open arms when his sentence is over. And if you have minor children he's forbidden to be around, you rehome your children with a family member. I don't think he'll wait until the last minute and take the plea. Angel, I don't think he's going to take the plea at all. They gave the offer some time ago, maybe more than a month, maybe 6 weeks ago or so. And he said, no, absolutely not. So I'm thinking he's going to reject that and he's going to go to prison for a long, 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 long time. And while I'm sad for his wife, if somebody is that level of a sexual predator, they really need to be incarcerated or away from children, away from people that they could be harming. So don't believe everything you read about what's going to happen with him, particularly when people are saying that he's going to have conjugal visits and all sorts of things like that. Just go to the Bureau of Prisons website, bop.gov, and they lay all that out. You can even download a prisoner's handbook that spells out all the rules in great detail if you're that curious. I think he's going to be gone for a long time. I think that he's not going to get off. He seems to think he's going to get off. I just don't think that that's going to happen. Hey, always grateful. So it's pretty awful. So I was going to do a quick video about that today. And then they do, Lisa, and it expires tonight at 5 p.m. I think that if he were to freak out at 11 p.m. and call his lawyer and call the feds in the middle of the night, they probably stretch it, but I am not thinking. Angela, you're asking about the Katie Joy Todd Chrisley lawsuit. Yeah, I think according to what I heard from Todd the other day, that today is the day that the papers will be served on Katie. She'll have to defend herself against a lawsuit by Todd Chrisley he's bringing because she messed in his relationship with his daughter. I mean, he's mad, and I don't blame him. If I was that kind of mad and I had that kind of money, I would so be suing her for that if she was saying that about my family. She did a live the other day where she seemed like she'd had a few little drinky poos, and I don't mean she was drinking Diet Coke. And she was saying a lot of really horrible things. Like she was saying that she has a friend named Steven at the FBI that she's talked to about this. I think Steven is probably, if I had to hazard a guess, Steven is probably the poor sap that's stuck talking to all the drunk people and people who are crazy and people who don't understand what the FBI does. And says, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll take care of this. And writes it all down in a ledger. That would be my guess, because I don't think anything Chrisley has done doesn't rise to the level of something that merits an investigation, except from the FBI. He still has his ongoing problems with the IRS. But that's neither here nor there. She's trying to say because he's having problems with the IRS and he's been indicted, that prevents him from suing other people. No such thing. Why do you think so many people in the jailhouse now sue? I mean, they bring frivolous lawsuits sometime. Your status is a possible, and your status of being arrested as a defendant, as a prisoner, whatever, that does not invalidate your right to bring lawsuits against people. That's just really ridiculous. I'm waiting for Emily D. Baker to download the documents off Pacer and start reading them. I'm going to be looking at that. Yeah, talks to the people with the tinfoil hats. That's a good thing. Well, I think she had more than a bottle, quite frankly, that night. I didn't stay up and watch because I've been struggling with the asthma, and that means I sleep, I don't sleep. I mean, usually don't sleep because you're taking amphetamines that make you nuts. My sorority sister, Kim, worked in litigation at our local state prison. She got to deal with all the suits inmates brought. Oh my goodness, Prairie, that is crazy. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I found an FBI costume for a 7-year-old niece. I wanted to send one to KJ since she thinks she's part of the FBI. Bossy, none of this is going to work out well for her, I'm afraid. I did join the class action lawsuit. I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. I've not heard anything from anybody beyond Todd Chrisley telling me that it's going to happen. And the other thing I did was I put together some T-shirts that say Team Todd Chrisley, that I'm going to drop a link in my YouTube page about. And I am going to get one. I'm going to have it sent to me, to my address in the States, and then pick it up later. But I want one of those. She was tweeting well into the morning hours. Oh, yeah. The whole damn box. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, and I may do a few more humorous ones. For years, I've thought about doing humorous T-shirts, and I think I'm about to because I have some crazy ones. Crazy ones. So, Bossy, that's crazy. I want a raglan baseball tee. Okay, I'll go ahead and put one of those on there too. Yeah, I think we need to support Todd. And I'm asking everybody when they get their T-shirt to take a picture of themselves wearing it so we can just flood Twitter and everything else. I'm going to put together a web page to put all those T-shirt pics on too, I think. Okay, now I'm to the really crazy stuff where my phone was blowing up in the 10 minutes to leading up to this. There is stuff that is going on big time that is so nuts. So incredibly nuts. I haven't heard anything about Anna having the baby. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So we don't know if Anna has had her baby yet or not. But I got to talk about the craziest, most dramatic stuff happening. The new IFB, the new Independent Fundamentalist Baptists, and are crazy things about that too. Annette, I don't think she's actually talking to anybody with any kind of power at the FBI. I think she's talking to, like I said, some poor sap that has to man the phones. So the new IFB and Steven Anderson is undergoing. I don't know who Grayson Fritz is. He is, well, thank you, Kentucky Girl. Grayson Fritz was part of the new IFB. He's currently left. He was the guy that was recently, they gave him some publicity, the LBGQ community. He got into all kinds of trouble for that. He's somewhere in Middle Tennessee, not too far from Cleveland, Tennessee, I think. He's somewhere between Cleveland and I want to say Nashville, but I'm not sure. Hey, Real. So Grayson Fritz runs Verity Baptist, no, not Verity Baptist. He runs his own church in Knox County. He's a former homicide detective, and he said all kinds of nasty things about the LGBTQ community. He calls for the murder of them. Well, so pick that fight. He slid into their shirt. They stole the church. Oh, that's exactly what's going on, Prairie. He's fighting with all of them through his All Scripture Baptist Church. Cracker Barrel in Cleveland, Tennessee. And I know that Cracker Barrel because when I used to drive back and forth from my house near Washington, D.C. to my mother's house in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I used to stop frequently in that part of the world and have lunch. And I like Cracker Barrel. I know their food's very unhealthy, but hey, when I was traveling, I would go to Cracker Barrel. Well, Barrel refused to wait on him, citing a zero tolerance policy for discriminatory treatment or harassment of people based on sexuality. And I was like, good for you, because I always thought that Cracker Barrel was awful on their political views. But this was actually pretty liberal of them, I'm going to say. I love me some Cracker Barrel too, Prairie. And sometimes I actually buy the clothes too. I love all their crazy tie-dye stuff. So anyway, he's fighting with them. I watched a video that Steven Anderson did where he was talking about Grace and Fritz and why they hate his guts. And he was actually saying stuff like he was a normal, loving, Jesus following kind of guy. It actually got kind of comical. He was mad that everybody was talking about them, just like Verity Baptist Church is mad because they're getting talked about right now because of everything going on with their people. And Stephen was upset mostly because Grace and Fritz said that his church and all of his people were venomous, worst people. They were just really venial and hateful. I don't have a problem with him saying that because there's some truth to that. Not everybody is like that. But I had to laugh because one of the things that Stephen was ranting about in this little hate-filled thing, YouTube's their words at the bottom of the screen. I'm totally losing it today. I interpreted something he said as eye of beers, and I got the biggest laugh out of that one. Here's the thing. Grayson Fritz has been accused, and one of the pastors of praying for the death of his ex-wife so they can remarry. That sounds like something they would do. That sounds very much like something they would do. Aaron Thompson and Jonathan Shelley are getting dragged hard right now because of some of their behavior. And one of them, whoever it is at Verity, is getting drugged for saying that about their praying for the death of their ex-wife. And so Stephen is carrying on about this, and I just wanted to be able to comment. He had comments off. Look in the mirror, dude. Look in the mirror. He said that he was, oh, thank you, Kentucky. Thank you. I got 2 recent soon trips planned to the U.S. I'm buying more yarn. So I wanted to tell him to look in the mirror, but he had comments off, of course. So he's mad at Fritz, and he's going after him. So one of them was saying that soul winning is a crutch, and it can be used as a way to make yourself feel good, but it wasn't necessarily the best thing in the world. I kind of laughed at that because that's one of the things that Steven Anderson really, really pushes hard. And he referred to himself as the Pope of the new IFB the other day on his video. And here's the thing about Fritz, about Grace and Fritz. He holds exactly the same views as Steven Anderson and everybody at Anderson's churches and all of the other. Yet he says nasty things about them. This has turned into a bloodbath between all of them, and I am so here for it. He says nasty things about them. He calls them prideful. And as now he's trying to say that he's independent fundamentalist Baptist, not new independent fundamentalist Baptist. I think whoever said that he was doing this for the publicity only is right on the money. harassment from some of the people there, taking it into real life, hitting me up in emails, sending me threats through Facebook, sending me threats through various things. And it's people that I don't even know that I think I may have seen once or twice around you. But I was hoping by taking a step back for a while, all of that would die down. It would just die down and go. But I'm sorry that somebody doxed you. That's just not right. Do you have any idea who it was? Because that's just not right. Like I said, I've been doxed before, and I try now to live an out life so that nobody could ever dox me again. And I know not everybody can. Somebody got it out first. Yeah, I know that she did. I know she got it out first. That's how, when people started pimping me and asking me if Josh was going to get, if he was going to be able to have those conjugal visits, I went into the Bureau of Prisons pages and started reading through all the rules. There's long, long rules. They have lots of them. Josh, if he's convicted, is not in for an easy time. I don't think he'll get one of those country club prisons. I think he'll be put with not Anderson. He'll be put with some guy where this guy, Jack Hiles, Jack Hiles' son-in-law, Jack Shope. I think he'll end up there. Shope is another one, except Shope made a plea deal for 10 years, and the judge said he didn't think that was enough. So he hit him with more time, which is going to happen too with Josh. If Josh takes the plea deal, it doesn't mean necessarily that the judge has to accept the deal or even honor the 10 years. Bossy, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it does suck. That's terrible. I don't know who would do that kind of crap except Oh, so anyway, so he's saying that the new IFB has bad spirits and bad attitudes. Yet he's running around throwing crap at everybody about him. He threatened. Okay. Jonathan Shelley. We got to talk about him just a little bit. Jonathan Shelley threatened to cut off his wife's hands. That was one of the things I ran across. That was one of the things that Grayson Fritz is saying, that I don't know how true it is, because I listened to that and I think, what? That's the craziest thing of all times. But no, I looked it up. He actually did. He said that in one of his sermons, his recent sermons. So while you have Grayson Fritz calling them very nasty people, Mejia, who also is pastor during one of the new IFB churches, is going after Tommy McMurtry, who is another new IFB pastor. They're all tossing Tommy McMurtry under the bus right now. They're going after him hard. And I don't doubt that he's going to be thrown out of his church here very shortly by Steven Anderson. Why? Because he, like Grayson Fritz, has stated that he's tired of the drama. He's tired of the insanity, and he's trying to get off the ride. I'm not sure that that's how it works with the new IFB. Like I said, the new IFB, one of the things that drives me the craziest about them is that I believe they're responsible in some way for the death of Todd Ferguson, and they're going to get away with it because the medical examiner there, the coroner, said that what happened to Todd was natural causes, even though he had part of his head stoved in. So that's the new IFB. It's going crazy. It's starting to implode for the first time in I don't know how long. The first time I saw it do that was back when Adam Fanning did not receive a pastorship of Steadfast Baptist like he felt he deserved. Started fighting with Steven Anderson. He made a lot of allegations about money. He said that Anderson would take money from different churches and spend it on God knows what. And there's a lot of those allegations going on right now altogether with the new IFB. That they're saying that about Aaron Thompson and some other pastors. I'm waiting for the IRS to jump in and start investigating them all. Because if they don't have their books in order, and I'm pretty sure they don't, just from what little I've observed, it could be a cluster. They could be finding themselves on the receiving end of all of this. Real, I can understand why you'd be in fear of your life. You're Black in America. Exactly. I understand it. I understand that perfectly well. And I'm sorry that they did this to you. You need to take appropriate steps. All I can say is cameras, cameras, cameras. That's how I know for sure that my neighbor ran into my gate, pushed my gate in to come in and use my hot tub, not realizing I was actually in here. My husband was gone, and I saw it all go down. It's going to be an expensive bill, like $600 to $1,000 to fix that stupid thing, and I'm pissed off about it. One of those things. So, Real, if I were you, I would take some steps. I would also complain to the FBI and the other authorities and your local cops about this. Even though I know cops in America are shitty to Black people, it's just the worst. It's awful. I don't know what to tell you how you're going to resolve that, but I think you need security. What's so crazy is McMurtry and Anderson are friends, especially Azusa and Cassandra. Well, not anymore. Apparently, people are sending me links to some videos. Even Anderson is saying stuff about McMurtry because McMurtry has turned against the whole thing. So I don't know what's going to happen. It is going to be a huge cluster before this happens. And I am sorry for your safety too. Don't ever run across the new IFB and piss them off. They've threatened to be here a number of times now, and I've had death threats from them. That turned over to Interpol. How lovely. So Interpol and the local cops. And I would send them the bill. Kentucky girl, yes, indeed. I would too. Complain to the police, get a paper trail, write down everything that has happened, document. That's the only thing I can tell you. That and get a camera, get an alarm system. That's the only thing that really seems to help. You know, I've got a pile of alarm systems here. We also have cameras. We have cameras in the house. There's a reason for that. And so if on guard at the subdivision gate, so you really would have a problem. Yes, complain to the police. So here we are. I can't believe that in 2021, we're having death threats from strangers online. I have to speak about this a little bit. A little over a week ago, I did a video about a YouTuber I follow called Ron. Ron runs Faces of the Forgotten. I like Ron. I like most of his videos. I didn't like the fact that he flew a drone over the wall of St. Louis 1 and he filmed in St. Roch 1 in New Orleans, where I have relatives in these places. And there's a no filming policy in place in both places. And I also corrected some of his history that he actually had kind of wrong. Nothing, cricket. So, and you can't really complain to Ron. It's hard to reach him. So I figured my best bet would be to do a YouTube video. And I found there's a ton of YouTubers that have illegally filmed in New Orleans Catholic cemeteries. So I'm starting to report those videos rather than going to the person and saying, hey, that thing you did, you shouldn't have done it. It's not legal. I'm sorry, bossy. So yesterday, shortly after I did my video yesterday, which I was really hurting yesterday, his fans flooded in. I should actually say his stands, not fans, because none of these people were behaving like fans. There were threats. They threw death threats at me, some of them. I got all kinds of crazy pushback. I had somebody that relentlessly made fun of my weight, which is never cool. I would never do that to anybody else. Nothing about their weight ever. If it's skinny or it's big. I've never said anything about Eugenia Cooney like everybody else, because everybody's body is their own business, really. I don't like other people's body either way. And I understand how hard it is to struggle with eating disorders, as I had one when I was younger. I had a pretty significant one. So there was all kinds of accusations hurled. There was all kinds of stuff said by these people. At first, I just went in there and cleared off all the death threats and stupidity and the things telling me that I'm too much of a fat ass to walk. Hey, Ron fans, I can walk, but not much because I've had a stroke. So you're picking on somebody for some crazy reasons. Not only one person addressed the fact that Ron had illegally filmed and said, well, maybe he didn't know. And that was the thing I said. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably didn't know. He's from way up north. He does not know how things happen. And the funniest thing was everybody was saying to me that I wasn't Cajun, that I had never lived in Louisiana, which I really got a huge laugh out of, because I have family members. I'm related to the Landrys. I'm related to the LeBlancs. I'm related to the Boudreaux. I'm related to practically every Cajun family there is. Cajun families are extremely interwoven and intermarried. That's why we sometimes have Tay-Sachs and other weird genetic illnesses. So I changed my Twitter status to white trash of Bayou Manchac, because that's where a lot of my family lives. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with people, Bossy. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to have to do a video on doing this stuff rather than letting people voice their opinions and then they're attacking them like they're some kind of demon-addled imp of Satan dancing around trying to defame their latest creator. We're always going to disagree on stuff. There are creators that I don't agree with. I've said that I don't like the fact that Roadhouse uses the C word, and that doesn't mean I don't think that Roadhog has the right to say that. I fully defend his right to say that. I just don't personally like it. I think they were just trying to harass me to take the video down. All I did was just close the comments, because if it's and here's the comical thing about this. I am a member of she's talking about Ron. And I'm sitting there watching this and seeing that they're not saying a word, because, like I said, I do enjoy some of the content. I enjoy some of the conversations. But because most of them couldn't be asked to figure out what my last name is, that I freely state sometimes in my videos, none of them picked up on the fact that I'm a member of the same group that they are, where they cooked up their attack on me. That was the comedy thing. So there is that. Real, hit me up in an email if you want to talk about the doxing, because this is pretty crazy. I don't even know who would do that and why, except maybe if it was related to Charlotte or KJ. Maybe one of them did it. So what do I know? I am just an old crippled lady with time on her hands. That is it. And thank you for saying you liked my butter yellow walls. That was a hard-fought battle with my husband. I wanted to paint the entire inside of the house a light turquoise. I couldn't get him to agree. He didn't want to paint anything. This room was an extremely dark and depressing, ugly, green-tinged gold, and it had to go. The other rooms were just as bad. So we did that. We painted all the bedrooms butter yellow. We painted the outside of the house out. Now we're having the battle over the living room and kitchen painting, and we cannot agree on the color there, which is really interesting. I think I may put my foot down and insist on turquoise. Insist, because it's a huge room. It's a nice color. It's neutral without being boring, and that was what I was looking for. If I have to compromise, I have to come up with a good compromise that I can live with. I can live with this. I couldn't live with what was here. So that's it. I'm all talked out now. I'm going to go and watch all of the new videos on the new IFB and them tossing Tommy McMurtry under the bus. They have no tolerance for anybody who has even a slightly different view from them. And well, like many groups I've seen, when someone disagrees even slightly, they demonize a person. The whole group starts spiraling smaller and smaller. And the parameters get tighter and tighter. They come up with crazier rules. I've seen this happen in everything from groups about cats to groups dedicated to celebrities. I've seen this again and again. This is a common behavior. It's a group dynamic online. Bossy, I'm going to go ahead and do that here very shortly because there are some people I like. I actually get a kick out of the guy that does 7-4 gear. He's a pilot. He does some really funny videos. I also really like Midlife Crisis. He's a cardiologist in Great Britain. I watch him frequently. I sometimes watch Dr. Jordan Wagner. At first I thought, oh no, this guy is just too goofy to live. I can't watch this. Well, I watched him and he was so funny. One of the things he does that I absolutely love is he breaks down cartoons, the medicine in cartoons, and tells how it relates to real medicine. And I've gotten the biggest laugh out of some of his takes on that. So there's that. I'm going to go because I'm losing my voice, as you can hear, and I've run out of intelligent things to say, and I don't want to yammer on any more than I already have. Okay, I got to go watch Dr. Phil and see what kind of stupidity going on there today. Everybody, have a great rest of your day. Have a good time. I have all my notifications on because I'm waiting for the moment that Emily DeBaker gets her hands on the Todd Chrisley versus Catherine Paulson lawsuit. I can't wait for her to read any of that. Goodbye.